question number one for this last vlog on the book is, what do you think or feel immediately upon completing Beatrice and Virgil? Whenever I flip the last page, and before the Gestalt games, once I flipped to that part, just in my head I was like, what did I just read? Like, that was such a 180. That was not what I was expecting the book to end. I was expecting like the play to get published, or I was expecting a lot of endings that weren't that. Up until then, the taxidermist never showed like that much emotion, never like did anything along those lines, and within 5 pages he stabs the only person who's ever helped him like with his play, and then goes in his shop and burns himself to death because that's the only thing he had left to do, I guess. Like, I was just mind blown by that. What are your thoughts and feelings about Beatrice and Virgil, the characters, and why do you think Ann Martell used them? I think she used animals to help build the connection. Like, originally, because Henry the writer's story used animals, and Henry the taxidermist used animals in his play, so I think she used animals to form a connection, like an easy way. And then I also think like her using animals and using animals in the play doesn't, like, it takes you a little bit longer to see that connection to the Holocaust than it would if she was using regular people. Question 3, the final scene with the mothers and the babies. I think the reason that wasn't in the play was because that's a very gruesome scene for a play like Henry was writing. And I think that was more so him telling that story of those people. Because the more I think about it, and I think about the characters, the boy and his 2 friends or whatever, like, in my head I see like, okay, the boy could have been Henry the taxidermist, like when he was still yet in the military, whenever he was still yet a Nazi. Like, that could have been him. He could be telling that story of something he experienced. But I mean, it might not be it either, but that's like one of the things that I thought about, like, that could possibly be what it was. Why do I think Henry the taxidermist attempts to kill Henry the writer? I think he tries to kill him because he kind of knew that Henry the writer had figured him out, kind of knew that, okay, my cover's blown, the gig's up, and I think he was afraid he was going to expose him to the population and make him even more hated than he already is. He's not really hated right now, it's just no one really understands him, and now you know why. And do I feel sympathy for the taxidermist? I'm kind of on the fence about that, because one way to look at it is the soldiers for Germany at that time were just doing, like, they were just executing the orders they were told to do. Like, yes, it's a horrible thing, but that was what their commanding officer said to do. But then on the other hand, like, if they would have fought back and they would have just been like, no, you're insane, one of the, actually probably the lowest point in history would have been avoided, in avoiding the Holocaust altogether. It wouldn't have been quite as bad. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the Holocaust was a low point for humans as a whole. Why do I think he wrote his play? Like I said before, I think he wrote his play almost off of sort of like his childhood, or like maybe his time in the military. Not exactly his childhood, but just off the fact that he experienced firsthand know what the Holocaust was all about, and he was trying to show people what happened from a different perspective, to inform people about what happened from a different perspective, possibly, as a tool to teach people about the horrors of the Holocaust. When the Holocaust gets brought up in like history classes and textbooks in general, they don't tell a story with it. They give you the facts. They put everything up front. They show you, like, there's pictures of the mass graves. There's pictures of what the people looked like that went through the concentration camps. Like, it tells how they were treated and how bad everything was. But it doesn't tell a story. It doesn't have something that wants to keep your attention like the book does. In textbooks, when you look at the Holocaust and you look at the pictures, it's something you just want to look away from. Like, you don't want to look at it. It was just a horrible all around event. And the way the book goes is it's something that wants to keep your attention while it's still yet like informing you and giving you, like, showing you what it was like during the Holocaust for people who are actually in the camps. Seven. Why do I think he wrote Games for Gestalt? Gustava? Probably. I think he wrote them to make people think, like, what would they do if they was in that situation? I'm trying to think. There's one in here they're in. It's game number 7. Your daughter is clearly dead. If you step on her head, you can reach higher where the air is better. Do you step on your daughter's head? That part, like, that was one of the things that, like, that actually happened to people when they were put in the gas chambers and they were being, like, slaughtered. Like, that was things that people actually had to think about, like, okay, if I do this, there's a chance I might live. And I think it's one of those things that makes people, like, make you realize, like, the choices that the people in the camps had to make while they were in there. Why do I think Martel left game number 13 blank? I think she left it blank to let the people that read it to use their imagination a little bit, because, like, you get to game number 13 and it's blank, and you just think, God, you just think about all the things that could be there related to the Holocaust or related to life in general. And then, like, a different twist of it was number 12. It was there's a pill. You're offered a pill that will make you forget. It will erase your memory. You will forget all the suffering and all your loss, but you will forget your entire past. Do you swallow the pill? And then game number 13 is blank, which could, like, foreshadow, like, okay, game number 12, you took the pill. Now 13, there's no game to play. You don't remember anything. Just another spin-off that could be. Out of all the items / objects written and talked about in Beatrice Virgil, what one will stick with you the most? From the very first time we met Beatrice Virgil is what would stick with me the most and, like, make me remember the book is the scene about the pear, where they're trying to describe the pear and talking about how amazing they are for like 4 or 5 pages of trying to describe a pear and comparing it to all these different things. That will probably make me think of the book the most, because every time you go to any grocery store, you see pears by the apples and everything. And when you see a pear, like, it'll immediately make me think of the book and that scene specifically. And then plus, like, if you, like, back where I live, we have a pear tree, like, it's in my backyard. So every time I, like, look and I see that it's bearing fruit and it's bearing a pear, then it's going to make me think of Beatrice and Virgil. Overall, it was a very It was a very good novel, and it kept my like it keeps my it kept my attention so well. It was very suspenseful, and the ending just absolutely blew my mind. It was insane.